Alright, guys, so it's official. The roster has been revealed. The 53-man roster for this upcoming season. So let's start off right away. Yes, Trevor Siemian did get cut. And only players on the roster at the quarterback position is Jake Browning and Joe Burrow. Reed Sinnett also got cut. Now, for the running back position, we are going to see that they kept 4 running backs. Travion Williams and Chris Evans both made the roster. Actually, something I predicted, which, makes perfect sense. Listen, at the end of the day, both these guys have unique skill sets. Travion has been dealing with injuries, but he's very good on special teams, and they do like him immensely. Joe Mixon, obviously, the starter, and then Chase Brown is the brand new guy who hopefully this year can blossom into become an absolute superstar. Now, for the receivers, they only kept 6 receivers, surprisingly enough. They did go ahead and cut Morgan Stanley. Morgan Stanley, Trent Taylor. They cut Kwame. They cut Kendrick Jackson. All these guys, Hippenhammer. And obviously a lot of those guys might end up on the Bengals practice squad. But they didn't keep 7 guys, which I know a lot of people are going to be surprised about because Cedric Jackson definitely did look very, very good this offseason so far. But, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Those guys just did not make the final cut. You got to keep some players somewhere and then cut players else. Another player who did not make the roster, Tanner Hudson. The only 3 tight ends they ended up keeping was Irv Smith, Drew Sample, and Mitchell Wilcox. Again, like I said, I don't want to be that guy, but kind of what I predicted. Tanner Hudson, yes, he did play good in the preseason, the first game and the third game, but he just wasn't cutting it enough to overtake Mitchell Wilcox. So he ended up just going ahead and most likely going to hit the practice squad after, waivers go through. So keep in mind, a lot of these guys we're talking about now, yeah, they didn't make the roster now, but it's possible they go in the practice squad and then they get elevated to the roster if an injury or something does end up happening. Now, for the tackle position, I think, is it OT? What do they have it listed here? Yep, OT. So the tackles are Jonah Williams on the right side with Donta Smith backing him up. We have on the right guard position, for tackle-wise, Cody Ford is going to be the 3rd string right tackle. For the left side, Orlando Brown's the starter and Jackson Carman's the backup. So, first off, starting off right away, Hakeem got cut. That's one guy we can talk about. I think that's pretty much it, though. And keep in mind that L. Collins is on, IR. So, he's going to be not on IR. He's going to be on the PUP list. But right now, he's on the IR. So, that is the tackles. Now, for the guards, Jackson Kirkland did end up getting cut. So, he is not going to be on this team anymore. Same thing with Nate Gilliam. He got cut, too. Ben Brown got cut. Yeah, I think that's actually it for the backup guards. So, we only have 3 guards. We have Cordell Volson, Max, and we have Alex Kappa. So, most likely what that means is that we're going to see Max be the backup for either, or try to be the backup for both those guys. So, hopefully we don't have any kind of injury concerns with either of those guys because we don't really have an immediate backup for either guy if someone goes down with injury. And then for center, we are going to go all the way down to the bottom for this one center. We only have 2 centers. We have Teddy K and we have Trey Hill. So, Trey Hill obviously is the immediate backup. And keep in mind also, I said Cody Ford can play guard too. So, Cody Ford's probably, if he made the squad like he did, he's probably going to be interchangeable from guard to tackle and kind of vice versa. So, I shouldn't say 100% Max is going to be the backup for both those guys. It probably will be Cody Ford who's the backup for those guys. And Trey Hill will also be in there too. So, we do have backup guards with Cody Ford and Trey Hill, but just keep that in mind that it's a little bit thin when it comes to like really good competition. Alright, so that's the offense. And to be honest, the offense, kind of what we expected. So for defensive linemen, here's the thing, right? And let me go down defense. Okay, so we got 4 pass rushers. Trey Hendrickson, Sam Hubbard, Miles Murphy, Joseph Asai, and Cam Sample. Yes, Raymond Johnson III got cut, and it really did break my heart today. I made a video about him recently, and I do really like him, and I hope wherever he goes, he becomes very successful. He probably will not clear waivers and stay on this team, so it is what it is. I will say, though, that there's a lot of defensive linemen that got cut. I mean, let's be honest. Owen Carney got cut, and Shaka Haywood got cut, and we're going to talk about him in a second in the linebacker position. But there's a lot of players that we saw throughout training camp preseason, and they're no longer on this roster. So it's kind of interesting. I don't know. It's kind of expected. This is what happens when you cut down from 88 men down to 53. Keep in mind we had 88 because we have 2 players on IR. The D tackle position is DJ Reader, BJ Hill, Zach Carter, and Jay, and then Josh. So again, a couple players cut there too. It looks like they're keeping more defensive tackles than defensive ends. It does make sense though, because the linebacker position, like for example, I think Joseph Asai is listed as end, but they can also put the linebackers in blitzing scenarios, so it's not as crazy. Linebacker wise though, they kept 5 guys for linebackers. So linebackers ended up being Logan Wilson, Jermaine Pratt, Akeem Davis-Gaither, Marcus Bailey, and Joe Bacci. So they kept 5 linebackers, but Logan Wilson and Jermaine Pratt could be put in different blitz packages. So yeah, that's definitely gonna kind of help them out there. For the cornerbacks, Poison Ivy did make the roster, by the way, just saying. But Cheeto made the roster. Obviously, Cam Taylor, Mike Hilton, DJ Turner, Poison Ivy, and Jalen Davis. So Alan George did get cut. Marvell Tells got cut. And Sidney Jones got cut. So going into this, we all assumed that it was going to be, Jalen Davis would get cut. Sidney Jones would make the roster. Well, with his injuries recently, it looks like that is simply not the case. So definitely an interesting scenario there. Now at the safety position, we have 4 safeties total. Nick Scott, Dax Hill, Jordan Battle, and Tyson Anderson. The guys who did get cut was Corker, also Larry Brooks, and finally Michael Thomas got cut. So a couple guys there, definitely kind of expected some of those guys. Not everyone, but kind of expected some guys. Long snapper is Cal. I mean, he took over for Clark Harris. It was kind of obvious he was going to remain his job. Drew Chrisman did get cut, so our punter now moving forward is Brad Robbins. And then, of course, our kicker is Money Mack. You already probably guessed that without any hassle. Now, we do have a couple players on injured reserve. And actually, sorry, my bad. We did actually keep Marvell Tells because he's on IR. Maxwell's also on IR. And I believe they can't cut these guys who are on IR. I believe that they have to do a settlement with their contract to cut them if you're on IR. You can't just cut a player because he gets hurt. So all these players are kind of stuck there. Once they're healthy again, I guess they're probably going to get cut. Al Collins is on the PUP list. Guys, tell me down below your thoughts and opinions, though, and I'll see you guys in the next one.